Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
We're backstage here at Madison Square Garden with AJ Styles. What's the haps, AJ?
Nothing much, man. Just glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I am too, and I was thinking about it today. This is my first time backstage at Madison Square Garden.
Oh.
But as an East Coast kid, this was an arena that I went to like a lot. I've been going here for decades. Growing up in Georgia, was there any significance to Madison Square Garden before you actually got in the business?
Not one bit.
There wasn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, I knew there were basketball games and big events held here, but I never saw them. I never knew how special this place was to, especially the Northeast. So yeah, not a big deal until you actually got into, at least until I got into wrestling and understood who had actually been here and did what they did. You know, the WWE Superstars and whatnot. So now, obviously, it's special. But
at what point, in your career, does that become a thing that you actually, I'd really like to work at Madison Square Garden?
Well, I mean, knowing that it's the only place, you can't go as, a professional wrestler unless you're with the WWE.
Right.
Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
You can, unless you wrestle for the WWE, you're not allowed to wrestle here. You don't wrestle here. It's
Right.
not happening. So
it becomes attached to that thing. If your goal of getting to WWE is attached to the Madison Square Garden thing, it's not a separation.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
There's hey, you wrestling in Madison Square? No, and I never will because I don't work for the WWE. It's just the way it is.
Right.
So that's what makes it special. And I accomplished a lot of things my first year that I didn't think was going to be possible.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you too, because as much as you accomplished, you kind of went up really quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You skyrocketed quickly. Were you worried at all, or did you do anything specific to make sure that you could maintain that, if that makes sense? Because the last thing you want to do is get here finally, right, and then go right to the top, and then 6 months in, it's okay, we tried it with AJ and back to the bottom.
Well, I've been here, I've been doing this for a living for 18 years.
Right.
So I know there's ups and downs. It's a roller coaster ride, and you got to ride that wave. When it comes, you got to enjoy it, and you got to be busting your tail to make sure that you can stay there as long as possible. But you can't always be number one. There's always got to be some other storylines going on, and you can't be the most important one all the time, because if you are, you're going to get stale.
Right.
So, and knowing that, it makes it easy for me,
Gotcha.
Knowing that okay, I'm just going to enjoy this while I can, because it's not going to last forever.
And when you do, when you're okay, I'm champion now. Now I'm not champion. Now I'm in a program for the United States title. Do you think to yourself, this is a good thing because it's what's allowing me to not become stale?
Well, there's a lot of people that were angry that I didn't win at WrestleMania. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad that I wasn't pushed to the moon when I first got here.
Right.
Because maybe some people wouldn't have been with it as much as they were when I actually started heading in that direction. So it's just you gotta just knowing how this business has prepared me for everything that is gonna happen.
That's interesting. So you get the big ovation when you get to the Rumble, and then it's okay, AJ, and then if you go to WrestleMania and you beat Jericho, it's AJ's unstoppable, and you're wait.
Yeah,
It's 3 months I've been here.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to create some ebbs and flows, right?
Absolutely. If you're not invincible, there's then that you can be beat, that anybody could at any time beat you. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because there's all kind of stories that you can play around and you can do with that. And sometimes unless you're the villain or some of that, if you don't ever get beat, then people are I don't know if I like this guy. In fact, I'm actually looking forward to him getting beat.
Right.
I remember watching, like MMA and Anderson Silva, as great as he was. There's part of me going, I can't wait till this guy gets beat.
And that's one of the reasons that you bought the pay-per-views, right? Because someday he's going to get beat.
That's exactly it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
He finally was it Chris Weidman that finally beat him. You're like, oh my God! I remember watching that. This is unreal.
Yeah.
And so it's just Ronda Rousey, as great as she is, when it happened, you're I can't believe this.
Right.
But sometimes losing is a good thing in that just like Mike Tyson, or not Mike Tyson, but I always think about Rocky and Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
Or the Russian and Rocky, like he can be beat. It's possible.
And then that comeback story is where it's at,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
When you start coming, I'm training, I'm going to get back in there, and
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
I love it.
Yeah. I was thinking also about you because I was thinking about did you watch the Ball family segment?
I did not.
I was
I don't
wrong?
even. Here's the thing. My son knows who the Ball family is. I have no clue who
Really?
they are. Sorry.
It's not in your. That's not where your life is at. Right
It
now.
isn't. It isn't. I'm in the WWE bubble,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't know what that is, it seems like every place I've ever been, I'm in their bubble. on their team. I'm the team. Trying to be the team player. So everything I do consists of what's going on around me, and right now it is the WWE, and I'm just consumed with it.
So that's how much that's your voluntary focus. Like you decided consciously to enter into the WWE bubble and become
Right.
this WWE superstar.
I mean, I'm aware of some of my surroundings as far as independent wrestling and whatnot,
Sure.
in Japan and stuff like that, but not as much as I used to be because this one is what I'm most focused on right now, and I got to do what I got to do to make sure that I make it a better business. When I'm gone, so
Right.
I'm totally invested.
Right. And do you feel like because you got to WWE when you did, that there is a timeline on it that wouldn't necessarily be there if you came here when you were, 28 years old, that you are like, I need to accomplish as much as I can right now?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. That's exactly the way it is. I have a lot to I have a lot of goals that I'd set. Once I got here, that I needed to accomplish, and that first year, wow, I met a lot of those goals.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be more. They always set goals of my own, and so that's never going to stop. That's the great thing about the WWE.
I mean, it is amazing. I think that, and I don't even know if you could consider this a goal of yours, but to me, just as a fan watching, I think the most amazing thing has been that people have, not in a bad way, but when they're watching AJ Styles on SmackDown or on a pay-per-view or whatever, they forget about the history of AJ Styles. Not to say that didn't matter, but to say that I'm not watching the guy that wrestled elsewhere. All I know is AJ, the guy from SmackDown, the WWE dude.
Yeah, and to me, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good thing.
I don't mind them forgetting everything that I've done in the past to focus on what I'm doing now.
It's kind of an amazing thing at this point in your career to be evolving still and not having people being like, yeah, do the old stuff, being like, where are we going next, AJ? That doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And there will be occasional, hey, you don't ever do this anymore. Well, it's just sometimes things just don't fit the way they used to.
Yeah.
And you get smarter. And you learn what works and when and how to do it so that everything makes sense. There's a lot more that go into putting together a match than anybody could ever know. Even the guys who think they know, they don't. Because I analyze and check out things, and it's hard for me to watch my own matches because
oh really?
I'll tear myself apart.
So you don't watch the AJ Styles matches the way a lot of people do, where they're like, "That's the guy." You're like, "Nah,
no.
I missed that. Oh, I could have done that.
If I would have just a little bit longer with this, or slowed down there, or sped up there, little things are what set you apart from everybody else.
Oh, totally.
It's not the big things. These crazy moves and stuff like that can be done. They've been done.
Right.
It's the where you put them and how you sell them that will make them great. And I like everything to work together and everything to make sense as much as I can in this crazy business.
Yeah, and I mean, what's amazing too is you have to, I think, study as you're in the ring. You have to study the reaction of the audience, because if they're not on the ride that you thought they would be on, you kind of have to change your game plan.
That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to. If you're not getting the reactions you think you should get, then you find a way to get there.
Let's get them back to where we thought they were going to be so we can do what we were planning on doing.
Right, because their reaction has a lot to do with how the match is structured.
Right.
So, there's a lot more that goes into a match than anybody would ever know.
The reason that I brought up the Ball family segment, because around the same time somebody posted something about it. It was I don't know if it was the year, the 2 year, whatever anniversary of the beat up John Cena promo,
I saw
and how that became what it became. I think that was a huge success for you and Gallows and Anderson. But that's also one of those things that, because it's comedy and because it's a catchphrase, it can go bad, and stuff has gone bad. Gallows and Anderson are two of the funniest dudes ever, and they've had segments that have died a slow death, trying to pull it off. Have you been in a situation, or right before you do here's the punchline, we're going to get people to say beat up John Cena, is there anything in you that says like, oh, I really hope this works? You know what I mean?
Yeah. You try to come up with little things that may or may not work. I was hoping the Ron Burgundy's definition of San Diego would get over, but it did not, apparently.
Right.
Only a couple. I thought a lot more people would get it.
Yeah, but then Kevin Owens went on Talking Smack and said what it was.
Oh, did he?
And then to bleep, yeah.
Of course he did. Well, he knows. There we go.
Yeah, so it got over with Kevin Owens. That counts for something.
Yeah, I guess so.
But have you been a part of anything that's like, oh no, I thought this would work and I have to continue on with this right now?
I'm sure there has, but the problem is I'm kind of like the 50 First Dates girl, so I got to make room for other information, so it leaks out the other side. So I don't remember half of anything that I've done because
it's kind of great.
I mean, it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, done with that, let's move on.
Right.
And so
you'll overanalyze, but you won't dwell.
Exactly.
That's a great.
Well, but my thing is too, it shouldn't take me more than once to figure something else.
Right.
So you tell me once, that's all I need.
Right.
And so hopefully, I learn this and go, oh, I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
So if you have to tell me twice, I'm in trouble.
I mean, unless
it's your name or something, because I meet too many people. So.
Well, and again, that's information that goes in one, and you got
exactly.
That's the information that goes.
Yeah.
There's too much wrestling in here.
Right.
To
exactly.
maintain all these names.
And to me, don't get me wrong, my family is very important, but that's the stuff I store so that I can put on better matches and do better storylines, stuff like that. That's important to my job.
Is it tough? You're talking about your family. Is it tough when you go home because you're also a very family-oriented dude to not, you got a couple days off, to not sit at the dinner table and think like put together whatever the next pay-per-view, like putting this match together in your head or whatever?
Unless somebody texts me or something, I'm done. Like
you can turn it off.
I turn it off. Now let's focus on all right, guys, let's focus on football, or let's go play in the pool, let's go do something, and there's always something for me to do with my kids or the wife even, like let's go have a date that we haven't had in forever.
Right.
So
you will do that.
I will turn it off. It for sure is turned off.
I think that's got to be the key to survival, right? Compartmentalization, like the fact that you can put things in categories, remember things, not remember things, turn it off, turn it on.
Well, there was something that happened to me a long time ago, and I realized that some guys can't turn it off. They think they're this guy, and it really bothered me. So I promised myself I'd never.
So you're being, and if you don't want to mention any names, that's fine. But you're dealing with a guy who, when he's in the ring, is performing as this character, and then you're having to deal with this
guy, the same guy outside.
Yeah, and you're going,
this is entertainment, right?
Right.
Anyway, that happens.
It's so odd because because the point is to work together to make the show the biggest thing possible, right?
Right.
Because as the show succeeds, everybody else does.
Exactly.
But some guys are just
some guys their ego gets in the way and they believe that they really are this guy, and so it hurts. Everything hurts the match, and in the long run, it could hurt the company.
And is that one of those things, like you say, you only have to be told once, but you have to see that once and go, you know what? Let me remind myself to never be that guy.
Yeah, you take pride in what you do.
Yeah,
and make sure that psychology is used in everything you do, the stories and whatnot. But at the end of the day, dude, I'm just a dad. I'm a husband.
Yeah, you're a dude.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
I'm not any better than anybody else out there.
How did you feel about your about the WrestleMania match with Shane? Because I don't think I've spoken to you since then.
I loved it, dude. Yeah. I thought we surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so too.
So
I'll tell you from my perspective, coming off that show, it was like, of course, you had your big Undertaker was the lead headline, and probably the Hardys were right under that. But that was the note that I got more than anything else. It was like, what match was really good? Shane and AJ. And it was from people, some of them were wrestling fans, and some of them were guys that hadn't watched since Shane and Kurt Angle wrestled or something. And they were like, they see Shane now, and they're like, I don't know if Shane should be doing this. And it's like somehow he gets in the ring, and it's the old Shane.
And, dude, his work ethic is unbelievable. This guy just wants to work and perfect everything. And my hat's off to him because he made sure that match was pretty darn good. I give a lot of credit to Shane for.
Did he take a lot of pride in it? In look.
Oh yeah.
I know you need to make this good for you, but for me, this has to be like.
It was equally important, if not more important, that to Shane, because he read what they said, that people had said, we don't care about this match. Right. I was like, that's perfect, because when we're done, it's you will have cared about this match,
right?
So, and I think we were able to accomplish that. And the crazy thing was, like, I remember being told we're going on first. I was like, first?
That's what I was going to ask you.
I was like, oh no, was that good? And then, it was great. It was perfect, because WrestleMania is a long show, so it was actually perfect.
Yeah, because in my mind, when I was going to ask you the question, I was thinking it more of, okay, it's our job to introduce these people to WrestleMania. We got to get them up on their feet. You can't have a dud as the first match.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, you're talking about a 7-hour show. It's a
long
long show, and the longer you go,
and not to mention the people who were there were sitting out in the sun, the scalding hot sun, for already at least 2 or 3 hours at that point, maybe less, but still.
So you guys get to go on just as the sun is going down and starting to cool off. Everybody's relieved, then they get excited because it's WrestleMania. I called the perfect breeze when I was made my entrance. It was great. Yeah, that's true. Your hair looked luscious and beautiful. It was perfect.
Man!
But you did. Do you take a lot of pride in a match like that? Like if you have a rematch with John Cena, everybody kind of expects it to be a classic based on the chemistry that you guys have that's established. When you have a match like Shane where the expectations are low, is there more pride in the fact that, like, you stole the show even though people didn't think you would?
Absolutely. I mean, I take a lot of pride in that. And, like, it's one of those things where, okay, you don't believe me, I'll show you. Yeah. I love being able to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done that, a couple times, and not just in wrestling, but throughout my life, and where somebody doesn't believe you and it pushes you to another level.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah.
When somebody says, obviously, when you can't do something and you prove them wrong, that feels good.
So when you came in, obviously Nakamura came in with you, Gallows and Anderson came in with you, and that was kind of like that New Japan sweep. Like, you, I think, were the top 4 guys over there, at least the top 4 buzzworthy guys, and that was a big blow to New Japan. They've now kind of regenerated and come back, and their roster is packed again. I know you said that you're not as familiar as you were, but are there any guys on that show that you're like, that's a guy who needs to be here?
I think there's a lot of guys that need to be here. I rode with Carl Anderson over here, and just we were talking about, like, Fale and Tamatanga. Like, I miss those guys so much, and just the chemistry that we had when we were together was just unbelievable. Yeah. I think the reason why the Bullet Club continued to grow, even after Finn left, is because you had a bunch of guys that were having fun and enjoyed being around each other for real. Like, it wasn't an act. We all loved being around each other. So that was just, like, the best thing about it. And we just see, we were just talking about how we see Bullet Club shirts everywhere, even to this day. And literally, as we said that, there was a guy walking by with a Bullet Club shirt on. So just so everyone knows, we didn't get a penny off those shirts.
Right.
It sure would have been nice.
Yeah, I heard that. I think Carl Anderson said that New Japan had a different approach to merchandising than WWE does.
Yeah, it was a lot different.
Yeah,
but I still had an amazing time in Japan. It was great being there. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I guess that was, and maybe it was the same course of action. You got to Japan, and when you first get to Japan, it's like, oh, from TNA, AJ Styles, and you spend some time there, and people forget about TNA. They start concentrating on what you're doing over there, and I think you're right that it wouldn't have worked the way it worked if you had made that, because to go from TNA straight to WWE.
It was it was just part of the plan. I said it when I was this thing we did with WWE. We were talking about our first jobs and whatnot.
I just watched that. Yeah.
I said this was all part of the plan. I just didn't know it.
Right.
And it happened. Everything happened the way it was supposed to.
When does that start adding up? I feel like right now you could look back and be like, yeah, this was all part of the plan. Obviously, you got to WWE exactly when you were supposed to, but when you're 35, you can't. It's difficult to tell yourself, like, you know what, let me be patient and allow it to be part of the plan. Like, when did you really own that I just have to ride the wave, as you said?
Well, I kind of learned that a little bit earlier, that it wasn't about me, it was about the show. And so I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure my opponent looks good and find out where we're going, and know that I can't always be on top. my career, it seemed like there was a huge roller coaster. Like, it was always ups and downs, but I found a way, even when those downs, to have fun. Being with Christian and Tomko, that was some of my favorite times in TNA because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, we just acted like complete idiots, at least I did.
Yeah.
So, but it was just, another way of entertaining myself and having fun with something that people didn't expect me to have fun with, and probably some of them didn't enjoy it because they like the serious AJ Styles. But that was coming. We just have to ride the roller coaster and figure out where it takes us. And then when I left TNA, it was, okay, let's make this huge decision that I'm leaving this company that I've been with for 11 years, and go somewhere else. With Ring of Honor, and then the ball started rolling with New Japan, and just kept getting faster and faster, and then lo and behold, 2 years, a little less than 2 years actually into New Japan, I'm going to WWE.
Right.
By far, 100% the biggest company when it comes to wrestling that you can work there. Like, you don't understand it until you're here.
Yeah.
But it's a well-oiled machine here.
Do you kind of want to, now that you've seen this, is there a part of you that wants to go back to where you were before and be like, no, guys, you're doing it all wrong. Here's what you have to do over here.
Here's the thing is that there were people there that said, no, you're doing it all wrong, and they didn't listen.
So you don't want to go back
there's no point in, because they would never have listened in the first place, no matter what you did.
Right.
And that's the reason why there is no company called TNA anymore. You know? So.
Right. When did you realize, and I'll get off of the topic in a second, but I was curious about when did you realize that you weren't a lifer in TNA? Because I would imagine that at some point you just envisioned, no, I'm the guy. I'm the homemade star. I'm going to carry the company. This is my life in wrestling.
I thought that I would retire from TNA. I thought that's what was happening, and I was okay with that. I had, I was proud of that, because I helped get a company, but I thought obviously it would continue to grow. But it was that last year, in 2013, that I was like, I may not be here. Like, this is some weird's happening, and at the end of the day, it was one of those things where I had to just bet on myself and take, whatever I could get, as far as work. And luckily for me, though, it was the Indies treated me really well. Ring of Honor treated me really, really well, and then moved on to New Japan, which treated me really well.
Yeah. I just don't think that people fully grasp that, to view your life as going one way and then within a calendar year have to decide, wait a minute, no, that's not the way this is going, is, terrifying and huge and, Well,
there's, what people don't understand, because there were some, I forget who they were, but there was I saw it on the YouTube, but there was some guys who used to dog me pretty bad because I left because of money. They have their own podcast or something like that. I don't know, but they just freaking dogged me because I left because of a money issue. Mm-hmm. Well, this is my job.
Right. If
you busted your tail for years doing everything you were supposed to do and never been reprimanded for anything, and then say, by the way, we're cutting your paycheck, buddy. What?
Right. It's an insult.
That's not supposed to happen.
Right.
I've been killing myself, literally, for this company. Why would you do that? And so I just, like I said, I went to another company, and they just dogged me for leaving that.
And I think,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
I think, too, it's not even – it's about the money, but it's not about the money as much as it is, it's disrespectful. It's an insult to, not acknowledge – what you mean and what you've done, and I think that all
they can always say,
apart.
well, who would you be if you hadn't have been with TNA? Well, my argument would be also, well, who would TNA been without me? Not I was the show. I wasn't.
Right.
But we did some great things. We had some great matches there. So it can go both ways if we're playing that game. But who knows where I would have ended up had I not went there?
Right.
Maybe I'd been here earlier. I don't know.
Right.
But
right. Is there when you found out that Shawn Michaels was pitched the AJ Styles match for WrestleMania? He said it on my show. He said, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I was pitched it and said no, and it wasn't an AJ Styles thing. It was I'm Shawn Michaels. I'm never going to wrestle again, and I'm really not going to. He said if he was going to, it'd be you, but he's not doing it. How did you feel when you found out that it was a real thing, not just an internet rumor?
I'm just glad someone asked him.
Yeah.
Because I actually pitched him has anybody asked Shawn? I'm like, no. I said, can we? Can someone just ask him? Because all he can say is no. And truthfully, I respect him so much as a man for when he said he retired, he actually did it. He didn't come back. No, because I was like, well, money talks, doesn't it? Not Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
He's a man of his word, and you got to, at the end of the day, that's all you have is your word. And so he retired, and good on him for that. But he, when we'd done our table for three, I don't know if you guys
I did.
had a chance to see that.
Yeah.
He said, that who would have benefit from this? He had one of the greatest matches of his career, and it was his retirement match.
Yeah.
Why would you want to change that? If he beats me, what does it do for me? And if I beat him, what does it do for, it doesn't really do anything for anybody. So he's absolutely 100% correct and made the right decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, you're thinking about this from a big picture, from a show perspective, not from I'm AJ Styles, I'm selfish, I want to wrestle Shawn Michaels real bad.
Very selfishly, I wanted to wrestle Shawn bad. But selfishly, I wanted to learn from this guy and see how he goes about putting together a match and the things that he thinks of, just a learning process. I mean, there's so many guys I've learned from already that are here. I can only imagine what I would have learned from him.
Who have you really learned a lot from here?
People aren't going to like this, but I'm telling you, I would say 90% of everything that I learned that I feel like has helped me tremendously is John Cena. The guy, there's a reason why he's been here for so long and done what he has done in this business and elsewhere. I don't know what his IQ is, but it's pretty high up there. I don't care what anybody says. He's quick-witted. This guy, and the little things, there was times where he'd tell me something, and I go, that's dumb. And I go, freak, he's right.
Because you'd play it out in your head?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He'd say it, and then I go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then I'd think about it. I go, no, he's absolutely 100% right. And that happened more than once.
Wow.
But he didn't have to tell me more than once.
Right.
That's the thing. So, I learned a lot from him, and, just the little things, man, that he does. Nobody else, it seems to have gotten it. Let me say this about, guys who say, well, John Cena, he buries guys. I don't think that's true. It's up to you after you leave from the storyline that you had with John Cena to carry on what you've been taught.
Bring that Cena dust with you that was just sprinkled on you.
Exactly. That's all it is. And if you continue to do that, you'll find a way to get to your, whatever spot it is. But the guy was there and still is here for a reason. You might want to find out what it is. So then
does it drive you crazy? I don't know how much you read the internet, but does it drive you crazy when you read things like, well, of course Cena and AJ had a good match. AJ carried him through it.
It's not true.
Right.
That's 100% not true. It takes two. Everybody knows that. The guy is willing to do whatever it takes to make a great match. I believe it was SummerSlam. Was it SummerSlam or Royal Rumble? There's one match where I don't know if people realize it. We never went outside to the floor, not once. And you just don't see that that often. But John and I were able to put that together.
And you know what? That's so great as a fan because, you don't realize it as it's happening. There's just the experience is that you watch it, and something in your brain is saying this feels, looks, smells different. This is a different match. There's something special about this, and I don't know what it is until you say something like, "Well, we never went outside," and you go, "That's what." Oh, that's psychology.
Yeah, and that's not done very much these days.
Right.
So when you're able to find someone that you can get in the ring and do that with, that's what makes it special.
If there was one thing, or when did you start to notice that Vince McMahon was sold on AJ Styles? Because I would imagine at this point Vince McMahon is sold on AJ Styles.
Well, I think it was the Miz TV where I beat him up. I think that's when he goes, "Whoa, okay." It's one of those things where you just gotta. I think Vince kind of likes a tough guy to some degree, and I'm not saying I'm Brock Lesnar, but I fought all my life. Kid growing up with nothing, sometimes you're going to get in scraps. In fact, I got in a lot of fights when I was a kid. So
were you an angry kid?
I wasn't an angry kid. I just was a poor kid, and so poor kids they fight over everything apparently.
Right.
Somebody calls you something, it's go time. And I had two older brothers, so you could try to pick on me if you want to because I wasn't a big kid, but my two older brothers had prepared me to throw blows if I needed to, and I wasn't afraid to do that.
And the thinking is I got nothing. I'm not going to take your crap on top of
Right.
that.
That's exactly it. There's the whole this thing with bullying. Sometimes I think, and I may get in trouble for saying this, sometimes I think the best way to handle a bully is just crack them one time and let's go from there.
Right.
It's
amazing how quickly most of them just stop. Because that's not what, they thought they were picking on a weak target, right?
Right, absolutely. Right. And if you're not that weak target, and what are you going to, if every time you pick on me, I punch you, I fight you, you're going to get tired of it too, because I'm going to connect at some point.
Yeah.
And you're going to get you're going to get embarrassed because you got a black eye, and I'm just a little kid that blacked your eye, and you're going to get made fun of.
I would probably stop picking on somebody that was, if I knew he's going to swing on me every time I pick on him.
Crazy kid.
I'm going to find somebody else. Yeah.
I'm not saying kids violence. Don't do it.
Don't hit anyone. But
just saying. Sometimes
it's an old school approach.
Enough's enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Enough's enough.
Enough is enough. There's something going on every time I watch Talking Smack. There's something going on between you and Daniel Bryan.
I don't know why he brings up this stuff. Like, it's just ridiculous stuff. I'm like, let's just talk about the show. And we could. Who knows? We may have a daddy SmackDown or Talking Smack Daddy style. I don't know, because we're both dads now, and he brought that up. And we talked about poopy diapers and then a wiener contest. Like, dude, that just sounds. Stop.
I feel like when I'm watching now, he's figured out what bothers you on a real level, and since it's live, and he can get away with whatever he wants.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. I'm
just
sure that it's what
throws it at you, because I could see it in your face. Like, that's not the AJ Styles character. That's a guy who's like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't want to do this.
That's exactly what it is. So who knows what the next one will be? So that's why I guess that's a good reason to tune into Talking Smack to see what Daniel Bryan is going to say.
Yeah, I mean, and I found like when I was talking to people on the radio, like, they realized pretty quickly that I started bringing up stuff that were conversations that we had off the air, because I knew it would embarrass them and it was funny, and they kind of stopped talking to me off the air. Cause, no, we're not going to tell Sam. Did that kind of happen when and we talked about it last time when you were on the phone, when he brought up the flat Earth thing? Were you like, this is the last time we have a conversation?
I'm like, shut up. I'm like, geez, I'm going to have to hear this, and yeah. He that's why. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to him about anything anymore.
Right. Who are you looking forward right now? That's on the roster to wrestling, or what goals do you have at this point beyond the sort of broad make the show amazing?
Well, I mean, there's so many things I haven't done yet. Like, there's so many guys I haven't been in the ring with. Like, we're talking about, I've really never got in the ring with Seth and Finn. So there's a couple guys out there that I know that I could have a great match with that just hasn't happened. So there's stuff to look forward to, not just for me, but for the fans as well. So eventually that's got to happen.
As a guy who has seen Nakamura for a long time now, do you think that the SmackDown fans are seeing the full picture? Because that's a criticism, right, that I've read online, that there are some people who love Nakamura. It's not a shot, but they're thinking like, oh, there's more here, and I'm not seeing as much as I can.
I mean, well, it's a 2-hour show. We can't, there is that. I get that what they're saying, and it's coming, but you have to wait. If we give it to you all at once and then it's over, then what do you got?
Right.
So we're trying to build up to this, the big climax. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I have, I would love to, I've got some ideas, but it's not what I want. It's ultimately what the boss wants and what fans want to see.
Did you love the moment at Money in the Bank, though? Because that's when I felt like I was like, there it is. Like, that's what I think that the people who were waiting for something, they just got it. Like, that's just the intensity and the moment and the storytelling and the whole thing that was just locked up in a moment.
Nakamura and I have wrestled one time.
Wow.
A one-on-one match one time. Obviously, that was done in Japan.
Sure.
We've never wrestled each other on U.S. soil.
Wow.
So that's something to look forward to when it finally happens.
Yeah.
But it's getting there that makes it exciting.
Right.
And I'm not sure when it'll be, but it's got to happen at some point.
Right. And that is kind of the fun of watching it, right? Is the anticipation of like, well, of course it's like anybody, of course it's going to happen. Like, and let's just wait.
Everybody wants it. It seemed like once they saw that, Money in the Bank. They go, SummerSlam. That one at SummerSlam. I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, we're not sure what's going to happen, but
they start fantasy booking.
Yeah.
The moment they see that stare down, it's like,
they
okay,
want it now.
Right. Right.
We're American. We want it now. Give it to us now.
Yeah, we eat our dessert first.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, just be patient. It's great things are gonna happen, and it's all about the build.
Yeah. What's the favorite thing that you've done here?
Favorite thing?
And I'll probably ask you that every time we talk because, it keeps evolving, right?
It does. I just did something recently that is on the top of my list of very funny things. Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
You love it?
Oh my God! Did you see Bray Wyatt rubbing his stomach on the side over here?
Is that what he's doing over it? No, no, that was somebody that looked like Bray Wyatt. That was just somebody else who works here.
But back to Southpaw Regional Wrestling. I don't know if you know about Southpaw.
Of course I know about Southpaw.
Of course, right? But they got a new sponsor in the next season. So
do you know what is?
He's a big sponsor. He's the biggest sponsor they got.
Can we have a preview of what is the sponsor? Who's the sponsor?
He's a car salesman.
Is that right?
Yeah, big sponsor.
Wow.
In Louisiana.
Does he have a name? Or
he does. He does have a name.
Are we going to say what it is? What's the name?
You sure you want to? You mean spoil it right now?
I just want the name. I don't even want any personality.
You want the name of the guy?
I want the name of the guy. No personality traits.
Okay.
No, just what's his name?
Malibu Al.
Of course, it's Malibu Al. Malibu Al. Well, I'm just glad that Southpaw is coming back because they were able to get that Malibu Al sponsorship.
Yep, it's going to continue to run, man. It's going to be a great season.
That's incredible. Have you been to Malibu Al's down there in Louisiana?
No.
I would assume it'll be a big
Car Emporium? No, I've never been.
Well, I would.
It's in Louisiana. I'm
right. That's not your.
It's not. Yeah, it's not my neck of the woods.
Right. I'd assume he'll probably sponsor WrestleMania too.
This is 1986. So,
yeah. That's what it is. That's so.
From what I hear, he's a pretty good looking guy.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
a bit of a stud from what I hear.
Well, I can't wait to see this thing. Is that one of those things like Southpaw? I was watching it, going like, I can't believe this happened.
It's like, what is this?
Yeah,
because I never heard anything about it. I just see. Tex Ferguson,
right?
Who I've seen, but with a different name.
Well, I actually, apparently, Sex Ferguson. This was revealed to me. Sex Ferguson wanted to make the money, so he went up north and changed his name to Tex Ferguson, so he could get on.
That's
so
what
he
I
could get on
thought.
TV.
Because I've seen this guy before,
right?
And I was like, that's and then
no, not anymore.
Okay, Tex Ferguson,
right.
Okay,
right. Yeah,
so there's a couple guys that I've ran into before, Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
Yeah, I can't believe that it got done and continues, and it's like it's a real thing.
It's a real deal. Real merch, I'm sure, is coming out.
Yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Are you? At what point did you start to feel comfortable being funny, being a promo guy? Because I feel like for a lot of your younger career, you weren't really associated with. You were associated with in ring.
Yeah,
and in the time since, you're still associated with in-ring, but it's also like when you pick up a microphone, people listen.
Yeah, I think that now it's just going, all right, what would AJ Styles say? And that's the thing, and who is he right now? Like, you really have to find out who you are, and when you dial that in, you figure it out, it makes it a lot easier.
Right.
And you put it in your own words instead
right.
of trying to say someone else's. It makes it a lot easier. So I think that's what's happened to me now. Nobody told me that before. Like, who are you?
Right.
Who are you?
Right. Because you before, like when you're a kid, you can get away with being like, I'm just a guy who does cool moves and I'm awesome in the ring.
Right.
But it's like
there's more to it than that,
right.
though. If you can tell me and show me who you are, I can get invested in that character.
Yeah.
So there's little things like that. Like if I had to pick, who AJ's turned on, he was a jealous, guy who wanted to be at the top and couldn't find a way. So he picked on the biggest guy he possibly could and the biggest name that he possibly could in the WWE, which turned out to be John Cena.
Right.
And it just snowballed from there, his ridiculousness and his heeledness, if you will.
Sure.
So yeah, I bet it was fun figuring out why he he was acting that way. What was his reasoning for acting? What was it?
Yeah.
And when you dial that in, you figure it out. And it's like, okay, here we go.
Well, I'm going to let you get ready for tonight in a second. But I was meaning to ask you this before. Is there a strategy to keeping yourself in shape long term? And I don't mean in shape like trim. I mean like healthy enough to wrestle every single night. Because the moves, some of the moves that you do now are the moves that like kids in their 20s are told, yeah, you can do that now, but you're not going to be able to do that, and then
right.
You come and you kind of disprove that. And like I'm watching you going like, what is being slowed down here? Like, what? And I don't see it as a fan.
And the thing is, I think it's just being smarter where you put these moves. They got to mean something when you do them. And if you do them every night, they don't mean anything.
Right.
So you put them in the right places, and at the same time, you got to listen to your body. If your body's not feeling it, don't do it.
Right.
And like if there's a question about how your shoulder or your knee's feeling, just let it go. And when it comes to working out, you got to know, all right, I'm getting a little bit too sore here. I'm not gonna do that.
Right. And I guess that's why you develop a repertoire too. So it's like, okay, well, this isn't going to work tonight because I feel it's here, but I got the calf crusher. I got this. I got that. I can go off the top tonight. I'm not going to do the calf crusher because I'll save that for when I can't do that.
Right. To me, offensive moves are important because we have a lot to choose from.
Right.
That's a big thing with me is that, and not only do my offensive moves usually only consist of, when you see them, you think of AJ Styles and no one else.
Yeah.
But they, I just lost my train of thought.
But when you're doing these offensive moves.
Well, now we have a choice and how to get to. The more moves we have, the more counters we have,
right,
and stuff like that. So it's good to have a couple under your belt. That way, you don't have to go to the top rope to hit the elbow. You can actually do something else.
Right.
There's more of options. Options are good in this sport, and especially when you get them over.
Yeah.
And like a false finish is actually a finish that you've actually beat somebody before.
Right. It doesn't work if it's like that's the false finish spot.
Yeah.
Like it's like
let's
at some point
beat somebody with
that's
that.
not an actual false finish. That's just the audience has been Pavlov dog trained to be like, oh, this is where we pretend we think it's going to be a false finish.
Oh,
right.
Dang it.
But that's not. You can hear the difference in the reaction of an audience that actually buys into a false finish versus we're playing a role, right?
But you also got to be very careful and not prostituting your finish out at the same time, because then the people are going, oh, well, I thought he was going to get out. I didn't think I thought he was going to get out.
Yeah. Who loses to that move? It's like,
yeah,
finish,
right,
man.
So you got to be conscious of that too as well. There's a fine line.
Right.
There's some guys that are able to kick out. There's some guys that will never be able to kick out.
Right. And you have to know who your character is and who their character is and
how important it is. Like I like to switch up, moves that beat people because they'll be relevant. They'll be
right.
It's important that you do that. So it's all about what I can fit in and what I can get away with too. Sometimes it's not a forearm. Sometimes it's not at the Styles because sometimes it's going to be the 450.
Right.
Or sometimes I can get the calf crusher in there, and but that's a good thing. And I would hope that we develop more of that.
Yeah, and there is that moment because you don't do the Styles Clash, for instance, every match. When you lock it onto John Cena, for example, it becomes even more because now this fantasy match, AJ Styles versus John Cena, is being complemented by this fantasy move that we didn't think we were going to see this match, but now we're buying into seeing this match. I never thought I would see John Cena in that move, though, because he doesn't do it. If you did it every match, it's like, well, obviously we're going to see the Styles Clash, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And it goes, there's so much more that goes into it just because I put him in position.
Right.
Now we've got more out of this move, or the springboard, for the forearm. Like, we've got so many options to choose from and go with.
Yeah.
That makes the match more exciting.
Well, AJ, I think you're in the process of writing one of the coolest and kind of unique stories that any WWE superstar has written. I don't think that your story has been told, and I think it's kind of amazing watching it unfold. And I'm going to let you get ready for your big Madison Square Garden match, but I hope we do this again soon, man.
Absolutely. I had to beg for this one.
Yeah, well, thanks, man.
Buddy.